G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to do the Team Bardock Super Battle Road stage. So this is one of those free to play Super Battle Road stages or Super Battle Road stages that are designed for free to play teams. Much like the original Pepe Girls, much like the original Ginyu Force stage. And for the most part, honestly, they're pretty boring. You can always pretty much do them. There's a little bit of luck involved, but for the most part, obviously, once you have the team, you have the dupes, you have the orbs invested, you have as much chance as everyone else. There are a couple of things you can do to obviously improve your chances. The first of those is making sure that you choose a friend lead that has either the max amount of dupes, which is currently 2 dupes for the LR Team Bardock. That would also help. And then also, of course, you can make sure that all of your units are properly geared. Having the correct level of equipment will also help out quite a bit. Having equipment makes things a lot easier. Obviously, just in terms of trying to get the max equipment you can on the units. Fortunately for the Team Bardock, you do have the option, so to say, of essentially getting their gear for free. Team Bardock have their own gearing event. It's the Trial of New Horizons event, and so because of that, you actually do have a decent option to get yourself some gear to just have your units perform at the best of their capabilities. And yeah, that's pretty much the 2 main things. There are some little sneak tricks that certain players can do. So the one trick that you can do, which I am using, is I have replaced the Tech Tora with the free-to-play AGL Bardock. He is a giant form category unit, actually, and he's attacking right now, but he's a little bit better than Tora. Tora does provide healing, which would be helpful in certain stages, but he is probably the most limited of the Team Bardock members, or the most ill-suited to the challenge of Super Battle Road, just due to how his passive works and how little options he has and things like that. So yeah, replacing Tora is probably the first thing you can do, and then the second thing you can realistically do is also, if you have the physical LR Bardock who recently got his Easy A, that's going to help you out quite a bit if you are looking for units to build into the team. He counts as a Team Bardock unit, so not only is he super strong, but he'll be super strong throughout the stage. You're constantly fighting extreme units, you fight a freezer unit eventually, so yeah, for the most part, Bardock is really, really good as an option like that, because he allows you to essentially just do a lot more damage. He'll outperform all of these units in terms of damage and defense and just pretty much everything. So from that aspect, Bardock's obviously very, very good. Not a lot of players will have him, but if you do have him, then yeah, obviously you benefit from that, and that's really good for you. If you don't have him, then you're like me and you just need to kind of make do with the free-to-play team, which is okay. They'll get the job done. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Just try your best to have the team and just let the team perform for you. Other than that, there's not much else I want to say in terms of small tricks that you can do. Just understand the units and how their passives work. I mean, if we look at, for example, Bardock has damage reduction, which makes him probably the best tanking unit in the team, which is super duper helpful. Bardock also seals, so keep that in mind, because Bardock sealing obviously is an important factor. Bardock sealing allows the Sugesh unit to stun, because Sugesh will stun any unit that is sealed. So keep that in mind. It's just small tricks like that you know can really alter how difficult a fight is or how it goes, which is generally speaking all pretty good, obviously from a perspective of trying to finish the stage. So if you are struggling, then that will help you out quite a bit. And then the other things you can do, is just understand their super attack effects. Farsha, obviously, you know, she lowers attack and defense, which is helpful. You know, I think it's not the Tora, it's the, what's his name? I always forget his name. Oh god. He basically has a stun chance, and he gains extra attacks when he is fighting, multiple enemies, so he'll fire an additional super attack. Farsha has a chance to dodge. Sugesh has the seal, and him and I'm just bad. He's the only Oak whose name I don't know. But he and Sugesh will stack attack and defense, so they'll get stronger throughout the event as it goes along. The LRs provide support buffing. They are pretty decent, the LRs, but they're actually not going to be the main tanks or anything like that. You do need to kind of like respect that they're better off actually floating. At least I find that they're better off floating. They provide really, really good DPS and support, but they don't really provide any utility, and they're actually quite difficult to get their 18 key with. So from my perspective, I definitely think, you know, it's actually better to not basically rely on them for damage and tanking, more just to kind of like use them as floating supports and things like that, because it's kind of where they shine the best, at least from my perspective. So definitely something you can do, use them as a support, but just keep your eye on them, make sure that you're not trying to rely on them for too much, and then you should be okay. But beyond that, everything else is pretty straightforward, so you shouldn't really suffer too badly. You should be okay to go. I like to pair up Bardock with what's his name, Sora. I think it's Sora, but whatever his name is, the AGL unit. I like to pair him up with Bardock generally, just because they make a decent pairing. And Bardock, like I said, he has like he has like some decent tankiness to him. He also fires that additional super, so between him and Bardock they can stun and control quite a few units, which helps. And then obviously I like to have the Farsha unit. Her dodging is good, just try not to rely on it too much. It's actually a very good chance. I think it's a medium chance to dodge, which is very, very helpful, but try not to rely on it the entire time. She's not like MUI Goku or something, where she's got like a 70% chance to dodge, so just try and use it when you can, or when she's got type advantage on most of the attacks, so that if she does get hit or she does get supered, you won't take an insane amount of damage, because that's going to leave you in a very bad position essentially. But beyond that, everything else is okay actually. The rest of the fights aren't so bad. You can kind of focus down one unit for the most part. Most of them are 2-unit fights, except for the first one. So the first one was obviously multiple units. That's not, I don't want to say the hardest fight, but that's the fight where you can get caught the most. Like for the last fight, you'll find I generally just keep the unit stunned up and sealed up, and I have a lot of control on the fight because of the team. And you have attack lowering, defense lowering. You have a lot of control that you can provide, and that allows you to essentially keep control of the fight. So that is something that I would say is obviously a very big benefit. But again, also it is something that we do need to be aware of. So from my angle, I think This SPR is probably one of the better balanced ones, at least if you don't have physical Bardock. If you have physical Bardock, it's probably going to be quite easy for you, but I mean, you know, that's any stage if you have the right units. So yeah, physical Bardock does make this way easier. He just does so much more damage. He can essentially delete units and things like that, so it's really helpful, obviously, from that aspect. But yeah, if you don't have Bardock, if you're like me, then it is pretty easy, or you can definitely do it with the free-to-play team. I would just say the AGL Giant Form Bardock is probably the only realistic change that I would make, just because he provides a bit more control in the sense of he does a bit more damage, and he's a little bit tankier, so I find him a little bit more useful. Although in the final stage, oddly enough, I probably would have preferred Tora. So it's, yeah, even though technically I used the AGL Bardock and I did elect to use him over Tora, weirdly enough, Tora was probably better off for the final stage, just due to the healing and the support he gives. Plus Bardock had type disadvantage against that stage, so that doesn't really help either. Kind of prevents us from getting out some good damage or anything with them. The Giant Form does come in handy, which is obviously also something that we do need to be aware of. So, you know, overall, I think I'm happy with this team, with this build, and with everything. There's not much to change here. Obviously, they could give the units easy A's. Maybe they will eventually when Team Bardock gets a extreme Super Battle Road. But yeah, there's not too much else that they need to do. The team handles it quite well. You can link level them. They do gain a lot from link leveling, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. Although they gain a lot from link leveling, it's also, how do I say, not really worth it. Like, I haven't specifically link leveled them, and so I don't really, like, I haven't link leveled them and I haven't suffered because of it. Doesn't seem like the stage is designed for you to have link leveled them at any point, or to have done anything like that. So yeah, for the most part, you should be okay, you should be fine, you won't have any issues. And yeah, I don't think you need to link level them or anything like that. If you do want to link level them, or you are struggling, link leveling will just help give you that extra 1 or 2% to push the entire process into your favor. So if you are struggling, then there you go, you're welcome. You can obviously benefit quite a lot from link leveling them, and you won't struggle too much. So obviously we're fighting here against Frieza. Frieza's AGL type, so he's pretty tough. He'll hit Bardock for a lot, even with his damage reduction, because Frieza does hit quite hard, at least, you know, compared to the Team Bardock, you know, team that is here. So that is something to be aware of, and you don't want to obviously be caught, you know, not having a whole bunch of units or anything, or taking a lot of damage or anything like that. So yeah, you know, Frieza is pretty tough. That's where if Asha comes in handy with her attack and defense lowering, getting the stun off against him is quite crucial. So I like to pair up Sagesh and Bardock here, just to allow us to essentially get the seal off straight away, and then follow that up pretty much automatically with the stun. And I think that helps quite a bit. It just really, obviously the stun only lasts one turn from Sagesh when it is fired off, because yeah, it only lasts one turn. So that is something that's a little bit, you know, would help if it was 2 turns, but it's not the end of the world. It does really help with controlling up the fight and things like that. So from my end, you know, I think overall that's definitely the way to go, because Bardock will seal him, preventing him from super attacking, and then by the time Sagesh goes in that second slot, you essentially prevent him from doing any more damage that turn. Your biggest threat will be before Bardock manages to seal him, which you'll see actually happen to us. We do have an instant where we don't manage to seal him, and he manages to hit Bardock with a super attack, and it does do a lot of damage. So yeah, you do actually see that come into fruition and give us some problems. But like I said, although it is an issue, it's not necessarily something fatal. You can survive it and you should be able to recover. You should also have quite a few items left here, which obviously helps. You can also use some, support memories. I'm obviously using the Goku tail one because it's, generally speaking, just kind of the best one to use. But yeah, you can use a whole bunch of support memories and things like that. It's just going to depend realistically on what you want to use, how you want to use them, and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of options, at least for the team. And keeping Frieza controlled is relatively easy. It's just going to depend a little bit on luck with getting the stuns on, all of the units and things like that. So yeah, this is where the healing effect and the attack stacking and the support from Tora would come in handy. Which is why I say, the whole fight, or the whole stage, I was quite adamant on the AGL Bardock that I took. But then when I got here, I was like, maybe you could take Tora. And I think that still applies. So without getting into it too technically, there's definitely some nice room to use Tora. He's definitely a good unit. So yeah, I don't think you need to be too quick to throw him out. But just know that you'll probably have a slightly tougher time in the first couple fights comparatively to the kind of time I'm having here, but then you'll probably have a lot easier a time here than what I would have had here. So yeah, it's just going to depend really on how you go about it and how lucky you get. But it is definitely a nice challenging stage. I think it definitely pushes the team, maybe not to its limit, like to the limit of needing to link level them and stuff like that, but it definitely pushes the team quite nicely and does, to a certain extent, keep you in check. And you will have needed to at least have like 2 dupes in your LR, geared the units and done all the missions to prep for it. You probably won't have needed to do anything else. So it is pretty cool from that aspect. It is pretty nice from that aspect. So yeah, realistically, yeah, like I said, beyond that, stage itself, not too bad. You can see the giant form coming into handy here, coming in really well, which helps. So this is where we can see the benefits of the giant form, which I think is very, very good. And then of course, we do manage to obviously get through Frieza. It gets a little bit tough near the end because you start to run a bit low on items and your safety and security do tend to dip a little bit, just because of the risks of Frieza super attacking you, finishing off your units and things like that. So yeah, there's definitely a little bit of drop off in terms of safety, but nothing too crazy or nothing that's realistically going to give you huge hassles. But yeah, that, like I said, that being said, it is something to be aware of. It is something, that will rear its head. You will run into a little bit of difficulties near the end, and that's where some RNG comes into play. Here, I think, will be where, we take the super attack here, which shows how much damage Frieza will do. I mean, we're basically at full health, and Frieza's going to do a bucket load of damage to Bardock. 202,000. We get very lucky though that we have the stun to follow. I mean the seal to follow, which will then lead into the stun. And that covers a lot of our, essentially keeps us quite well covered. You'll see there, Bardock gets the seal, we get the stun, and then we're able to heal up here with our last item, which helps us quite a bit. But like I said, you can see that we are running into some difficulties, that we're not having the smoothest time. So it isn't like just a straightforward stage. You're not just going to waltz in here and immediately, conquer the stage with ease just because you have the team and everything. You will need a little bit of luck, but you will need to just make the right decisions at the right time. And then you will see a lot of benefits. Overall, you'll see, a lot of your work and your preparation start to come through. If you are genuinely keeping on top of things, you should be more than fine. You won't really struggle too much or anything like that. So yeah, from that aspect, yeah, I definitely think it's a good stage, and you'll be more than good to go. So from my side, if you've done the prep work, you won't have problems. If you haven't done the prep work, you probably will run into a couple issues, and that's just how it is. It's not really the end of the world or the absolute end of the world, but yeah, definitely do your prep work, do your trial of New Horizons, awaken your units, give them good gear, invest a little bit in them. Just don't just slap on the first bits of gear you get. Put a little bit of work in, get them some nice gear, give them the right builds, and then you should be good to go. So yeah, just don't basically expect to walk through the event, and you will be able to walk through the event, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, from my side, we've managed to obviously clear it up. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys found it. Did you have the physical LR Bardock? Did you not? And yeah, just in general, how you've been finding the SBR. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, take care, cheers, and bye.